Hello, I'm David Gray. It's early January 2020, and I'm heading out on my first ever winter backpacking trip. And it also happens to be the first backpacking trip of the 2020 season. I've clearly not been a huge fan of winter backpacking, but both Travis and I were chomping at the bit to get out in the woods, so we decided to take a quick weekend trip down to Tennessee and do some hiking in Big South Fork National River Recreation Area. This is going to be a 3-day, 20-mile or so hike starting at the Bandy Creek Park headquarters area. The first day we'll start with a little bit of a road walk over to the John Litton farm site, which is a really cool historic area. And then from there we'll connect with the John Muir Trail, and this is the Tennessee version of the John Muir Trail, not the California version. And we'll do about a 10-mile or so stretch of the JMT over the first couple of days. Somewhere along the way we'll try to find our first night's campsite. The second day we'll continue on the JMT over to the Station Camp Creek Trail. We'll take that up to the luxurious Charit Creek Lodge, which is where we'll be staying the second night. The lodge is always a really special place to spend the night, but on this trip I think it's going to be particularly welcome because heavy rain's supposed to come in the first night and continue all through the second day. So unlike our absolutely perfect weather season we had in 2019, looks like 2020 is going to be starting out with a wet one. On the plus side though, temperatures are supposed to be basically at record highs with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 60s and nighttime low temperatures are going to be in the 50s. So those nice warmer temperatures have allowed me to bring a couple other hiking partners along. Yep, we're going to be hiking with the dogs. Jaden is certainly starting to get up there in years and he's starting to show signs of his age, but he's still able to knock off the mile, so I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity I have to bring him along on these trips. And with that, let's get over to the dog-friendly Cumberland Falls Resort State Park just west of Corbin, Kentucky, and get this trip started. Obligatory barbecue stop at Bubby's. Making the obligatory barbecue stop on the way over to Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. And that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not sure what kind of food is there. So we'll take advantage of Bubby's. It's a highly rated barbecue place in Corbin, Kentucky. And I will say, someone in these YouTube comments on one of the videos, or more than one of the videos, commented about my ultra high fat, ultra high calorie pre-trip meal indulgences, and they're right. So I've decided I'm going to go to an exclusively kale, quinoa, chia seed diet right after this barbecue. Hi there. Just wanted to order some takeout.
All right.
Yeah, 2 pulled pork combos.
With French fries on both of them.
French fries, and then can you get sides too? Mm-hmm. Maybe like a side of coleslaw and a side of baked beans. My doggies are getting a little impatient. Barbecue. Give me my barbecue now! Just waiting for it to get done. Barbecue is in hand. Lots of sauce. Barky dog. On our way to Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. We're going to have a little bit of a different experience this time around. It was like the big green tunnel when we were here the last time, but clearly we're going to have some more openings and maybe some more views. About 3 miles to go to our stop for the night, Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. Pretty dry back here, very windy roads, but with the foliage off the trees, you're actually getting some pretty decent views. We made it to the lodge. Here it is. Cumberland Falls State Resort Park Lodge. This is the Cumberland Falls State Resort Park cabins, and here's our cabin, number 511. And I must say, it's much nicer than the Super 8 in Caryville, Tennessee, although that served its purpose. But this is 2 bedrooms, 2 queen-size beds in each bedroom, full-size. It's like a house. Pretty nice place. It was $164, and that included $50 extra for the dogs. Nice find. Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. Just thought I'd show you what it looks like. These are the bedrooms, 2 queen-size beds in each one. Living room and a fireplace, TV, a kitchen. So nothing super elaborate, but it's a lot nicer than 2 rooms at the Super 8 motel, and actually a lot cheaper than 2 rooms at the Super 8 motel.
What are you guys doing? Hey, cheating. Hey, cheating. Hey.
Buy buffalo trays then?
Yeah. They make Pappy, they make Weller, they make Buffalo Trays. They put special stuff out every now and then. Like last time I was there, I got E.H. Taylor.
Yeah, I knew that.
So
Okay.
it just happens from time to time. You never know what you're gonna get.
Oh, that's special. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, man. That's awesome.
One of the areas Mark highlighted was in the Fort Smith, Arkansas area that's been wet recently. That's one of the reasons why they're under flash flood watch. We've got a 1,000-mile stretch here from Dallas up to Charit.
I'm guessing that'll get it going.
And we've got some
Well, that's pretty cool. Oh, you're back. You feel guilty for going to bed early?
I think it was right outside.
You look very, very comfortable.
Will that come out in the last 5 minutes of the game with them being precious?
It's kind of a luxury deal for us because typically it's Super 8, and here we are. We got a 2-bedroom cabin, 2 baths.
Man, that's sweet.
Dogs are comfortable.
I'll tell you what, you guys might we'll just consider staying there until you do a short hike and get to Charit Creek on Saturday.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I probably would be too.
Well, it's the end of a fantastic first day of the Big South Fork January 2020 trip. End of day number 1. Hiking starts tomorrow. Ready to go out? Good morning.
It's reasonable.
Oh, it's nice. It's warm. Good morning. I'd say it's dark 30, but in the wintertime that could be noon. It's probably about 6:30. We're planning to head up to the lodge to try to find some breakfast about 7 when the restaurant opens. Really mild temperatures out here. This is like, you'd think this is like a July day. Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. Cottage number 511 treated us extremely well. Get the packs packed, get the cars packed up, head over to the lodge, see if we can find some food, then over to Big South Fork, shuttle some cars around, and then we'll be hiking. Get going on day number 2. Making the short drive over to the lodge a few minutes after 7. See what we can find in the way of food. Successfully retrieved breakfast. It looks like some sort of a Egg McMuffin sort of thing, but that'll work. I wouldn't say it's as good as an Egg McMuffin, but not bad. Made it to Big South Fork. What do you guys think? Bailey goes, I just want to get hiking. Why are we in the car so long? After we made that turn, the road got a lot skinnier and a lot rougher. It's more like a little Forest Service road at this point. We're almost to the trailhead, but as we were driving in, there were clearly a few freshly downed trees that had gone across this road. Winds are supposed to be upwards of 30, maybe 40 miles an hour tomorrow. So it makes me wonder what we're gonna find when we actually drive out this way after our hike. A long, very narrow road, and all it's gonna take is 1 or 2 trees to fall down across the road, and we're gonna have a hard time getting out. So we made it to the trailhead. Drop 1 car off here and then head all the way back out over to Bandy Creek. Last minute gear preparations going on, and Travis always comes prepared. That was from last night. We're putting it away. We're not indulging yet. Maybe a little later. Bailey doesn't want any more car rides. You guys ready? You're the good dog, Jaden. You dropped the car off at Charit Creek Trailhead, which is where we'll finish our hike in a couple days here. Now we're taking the long trek back to the Bandy Creek Park headquarters area, which is where we're going to start from. And I sometimes forget about how long it takes to shuttle everything around on these roads, and the mileages are a lot higher than you would think. We got probably another 45 minutes just to get back over to Bandy Creek. Morning.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hike back to Charit Creek Lodge.
Are you backcountry?
Yep.
We're going backpack, yeah.
Is it just the 2 of you?
Yeah.
Be $5.
Cool. Bargain. Is there anybody else back there?
Not right now.
We'll have our pick of spots.
You know, is there very good camping along the John Muir Trail? anywhere?
It is, I'll show you.
Okay.
The blue little
like right up-
sections are where stationed, like campfire rings are already set up.
Oh, okay.
Those-
That one right there is probably the one we want, because I was thinking about in this area.
Is that close to water?
Would this be close to water?
This one right here,
yeah.
it would be right, this little source right here.
Okay.
So it's just right, and there is one right along, right there.
Let's go for those.
Sure.
We got a real permit this time. Last time they were closed and we had to get it online from this parking lot. You ready, Bailey?
That's a silly question.
We are geared up and the dogs are more than ready to go. We're getting going. We're hiking. A little chillier than we thought. The winds are probably about 15 miles an hour and it's about 52 degrees. So the combination of that makes you think about wanting one more layer on maybe. We start with a little bit of a road walk. We're heading over to the John Litton farm site, which I think is a couple miles away. Spend some time on that and then we'll connect with the John Muir Trail, which will be where we'll start looking for a campsite for today. Taking advantage of a little last minute cell coverage. Weather forecast has actually improved. That big blue spike, it used to be starting tonight at 100% Friday night and then all day tomorrow at 100%. Now it's looking like it may hold off a little bit. We might get lucky. Maybe some of that good weather karma from 2019 is carrying on over into 2020. Feeling a little better about the weather right now. We'll see. Dry for now. Took a little detour off our road walk. There was actually a single track trail that comes back here to the John Litton farm site as well. Even though it's a little bit longer than the road walk, I wasn't entirely sure the road went all the way to the farm site and it was kind of hard on the doggies' feet. We're getting close. We're probably within a third of a mile maybe of the farm site and we'll do some exploring. Well, 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 see what we stumbled across. I believe this is the John Litton farm site. Has that 1800s feel to it. I remember there were more split rail fences though. Not exactly how I remembered it, but it's still a pretty neat area. Makes you think about all the history here. Now we got to figure out where we go to continue on to the John Muir Trail from here. Well, we're approaching the intersection with the John Muir Trail, Tennessee version up here. Man, it is just perfect hiking conditions right now. Perfect temperature, nice trail, dry. Hope it stays that way. Signature thing, Big South Fork, it seems like. A little rock outcropping things. This little rest stop. The junction with the John Muir Trail and the Shelter We Trace. Turtle blaze there. Hiking on the John Muir Trail and the Shelter We Trace. Look at this cool area. Like a jungle. Just for informational purposes, we came across this little campsite not too long after that, well, the intersection with the Shelter We Trace. That always makes me a little nervous. Combination of that sign and that dog. Keep a close eye on them. Not a bad view, huh? The doggies don't go on leashes too often on these trips, but I don't want them anywhere near that drop-off. And I came to an important junction. We're not quite sure where we go. We think we continue on that way. Yeah, I do see the John Muir Trail sign, the blue head. Well, making good progress for the day. According to this, we're 4.9 miles from the Bandy Creek campground. We were planning on doing about 8 for the day. Original plan was probably about another couple miles, but we may go a couple miles beyond that. It's relatively early. We've only been hiking for about 2.5 hours, so we'll keep going. We've donned the leashes again. because we got a little bit of a drop off here. I get really nervous. Wow. Oh my gosh. This is one heck of a view. And also one heck of a drop off. Look at all these crazy leaves. I don't know what kind of tree it is. It looks like paper almost. First time I saw it, I thought it was like toilet paper. This, by the way, is what the trail has been like, aside from a few harrowing cliff encounters. Really easy, pleasant trail for the most part, but not a lot to see and absolutely no water. It seemed like there was water everywhere. Kind of lulls you into a false sense of feeling like it's going to be that way all over, but on this John Muir Trail up on this, you know, plateau area, and bone dry, and I'm in firmly looking for water in a rest spot mode here. Okay, I know it doesn't look like much, but that little trickle of water is like the first water we've seen in probably 4 or 5 miles. If you ever want company when you're trying to eat, my dogs have you covered. Bailey's like on point. I've got a duck. Happens to be a tuna wrap tortilla thing, but a nice little spot for a break, and it happens to have a little bit of water, so this will keep us going. It's a slow little trickle, but plenty to fill up everything we need to until we get to camp. You happy again? Oh jeez. Bailey's happy again. She's replenished her batteries. She's ready to go. I decided to filter a little bit of water. It's just there's been no water at all, so just in case. I don't know where we're gonna find camp, so if we need to, we'll have a little bit of extra. Came upon this pretty little stretch. Sort of in looking for a campsite mode, but there's nothing to be had. Big South Fork, if you come here, try to figure out where the campsites are, because they're few and far between. There have been 2 of them, 2 kind of rinky-dink ones. I filmed the one, there was another one pretty much just like it along this, and that's it. And it's starting to rain. The good weather carryover from 2019 I don't think was in the cards for us. It's not raining hard. I don't think it's going to start raining hard for a while, but it's just kind of spitting. Oh, that's kind of cool. We are past the point on the map that I arbitrarily picked for our first night's camp spot. I didn't know where the camp spots were, obviously, so I just picked a spot at about 8.5 miles. Funny, I should mention that. Look what I just stumbled upon. Yeah, it's a camp spot, and somebody's piled up a bunch of wood. Or that's a pretty typical Big South Fork camp spot. You can see why. I mean, this is what the trail is just completely surrounded by. You know, you think to yourself, hey, you can just camp anywhere. It's true, you can, but you can't just camp anywhere just because of the terrain and the vegetation. That would be a doable spot. We're at about the right distance. There's no water though, so we're gonna keep going. I watched a YouTube video of a guy who did this exact trail, and he said he found his campsite at about 10 miles, which is probably another mile up here for us. We're just pressing on for now. Just kind of a shot of the trail. I haven't taken many shots like this because it's all been like this. You can kind of tell what the trail's like everywhere here. The other thing you can tell is why it's so difficult to find campsites. If you don't find one that's already been set up, it's difficult to find a spot where you can set a tent up. Hammocking, maybe a different story, but tents, a little problematic here. Yeah, there are better places to get some views of this stuff, but I get nervous. There was one right back there on the corner, but it was straight down, right just off the trail. We are in serious looking for a campsite mode. I think we're at over 10 miles now. There hasn't been anything other than what you see here, cliffs and rhododendrons, and just no opportunities at all, and that doesn't even come to mention water. It's looking, I didn't think it would ever happen, but Station Camp Creek at first was like 10.3 miles from basically when we got on the John Muir Trail. I didn't think we'd ever be hiking that far, but that may be what we're doing today. Dogs are getting pooped, I'm getting pooped, I know Travis is getting pooped, so we're hoping to find a camp spot soon. Taking a little bit of a break, a much needed break. I didn't want to, I wanted to find a campsite so we could just stop for the night, but as you can see, there's nothing. The dogs were really dragging. I got them some water, so they're good to go. I gave them the rest of my beef jerky, so they're happy about that. It's looking more and more likely like we're just going to be heading down to Station Camp Creek, which is probably another 2 miles still. I'm thinking that's probably what the primary plan is now. We're close enough now that We might as well do it, and we know there's water there, and according to the ranger, there's a campsite there. We're on the home stretch now. We're committed to heading down to Station Camp Creek, and this is the last little forest roady part of it. It's about a mile from the top of the hill down to the creek itself, and I'm hoping we find a campsite right away once we get there, because we're running out of daylight at this point. I don't know if you can tell with Travis back there, but it has certainly gotten steeper as we're getting closer to the creek and heading downhill. We are looking forward to getting into camp. That would be the understatement of the trip so far. That's what we're hiking on as we go down the hill. Yeah, no kidding. It's nice here. And water. The last downhill stretch just keeps getting harder and harder. Whatever this is, road, Forest Service road, creek, extremely steep and rough. And this is like the speed I'm having to go. So definitely not making very good time. But the good news is we're almost at the bottom. I'm hoping we find a campsite right away and don't have to spend another half an hour looking for it, because we're running out of daylight. Not going to have much time to get everything done. But getting close to the bottom. Oh, man, this is hard. May not be the prettiest campsite of them all, but it's a campsite for sure, right at the creek. I'm a little concerned about the nearness of this to that creek if it starts raining overnight. Had that experience before. A little higher ground would be nice. I may go explore on the other side. I mean, we could certainly use this. There's plenty of places to set tents up, and this would work if I had to. Well, I was exploring the other side of the river, which, by the way, we decided was not feasible. It's actually lower. Our campsite's going to be over there on the other side. This bad boy right here, Bandy Creek Campground, 15.9. We actually added a little to it when we did the John Litton farm trails. That was the day we had. The good news is, as Travis pointed out, it's done. And the other thing is, we've only got like 3 miles to get to the Charit Creek Lodge tomorrow, which will be nice if it's raining out. I haven't done a high mileage day like that in a long time. Whew, that hurts. We need to get to camp and get rehydrated, get some Advil, and get everything set up, because we don't have much daylight left. We made it to camp. Well, we got camp set up in the hurried fashion. Throw the tent up, go get the water for the gravity filter. Bailey already took her spot in the tent. She's claimed it, and she found her spot. We're getting things set up. Get the cheddar cheese spread rehydrating here in a little bit once we get some water and Advil and all that stuff. Feels good to be home for the night. Get the gravity filter going. It's I already used it once today, so hopefully there's water in the hoses, so to speak. It's going it's really slow. Now it's going a lot faster. Really glad we're not doing this in a downpour. That would put a whole different mood on the whole situation. 2 things on the very high priority list. Advil and Endurax R4. It's a day like this when you really realize how unbelievably wonderful Endurax R4 is. Works just fine. Sure makes it a lot easier. We're making an attempt at a fire here. Everything around here is basically in a floodplain. So I think we're getting critical mass. I found one big piece of bone dry wood that was like a piece of oak or something. It is super dark and it's not even 6 o'clock. The camera's lighting it up a lot. Feeding the dogs. I know it looks a lot later. It's really dark. It's only like 6 o'clock, and that's the dogs' dinner time. So Bailey has reminded me, so I'm feeding the doggies. A little sip of adult painkiller beverage, much needed in this particular case. Nope. Bailey, come on. Just when you thought there was like only one use for my little air pump. Got it going for a little while. It is a very, very late night. Well, not really. It's 6:50. So it's a
Dark night.
kind of a late cheddar cheese spread, but it's a very dark cheddar cheese spread. This one is Bailey's, and she gets it with 2 aspirin. No Advil for doggies. I don't know if everybody knows that, but oh, here, I'll bring it to you. Ooh, I'm gonna have to wake Jaden up to give him his. Alright, so this one will be Jaden's. Oh, that's the other doggie. You'll get more, Bailey. This one's for Jaden, but this will make him feel a lot better tomorrow. Cool. We both got some aspirin in them, so help with the pain a little bit. That's pretty good.
Carl said his goes to the dogs.
Oops. Bailey, look all this. Well, we still got a little tiny bit of a fire going. You're up. You're up. There you go.
Sorry guys, this is a sloppy one to share. I think your dad might not appreciate it in the tent.
Even though it's pitch dark out, it feels kind of nice to relax.
Yes, it does.
It was a hell of a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on to the GoPro. The Z6 ran out of batteries, and I couldn't find the spare batteries. That's been driving me insane. I'm committed to the GoPro at this point in time. It's 4K as well, so the big drawback to it is the audio quality is not nearly what I can do with the Z6. We'll finish off the trip with the GoPro. Marginally late night adult beverage here, watching our smoldering fire is the best way to describe it. The wood was so wet that it's not going out, but it's not burning either, but it's producing enough of a glow that it's kind of a cool backdrop here. Have a good first day. Pretty darn tired, but glad to be in camp, and we'll be heading to bed here in a little bit. Good morning. Welcome to day number 3 of the trip. Second day of backpacking. Turns out it's going to be a much shorter day than we had originally envisioned. We only have about 3 miles and change to the Charit Creek Lodge because we did 16 miles and change yesterday. I'm just totally stunned by this. I was fully expecting from the weather reports that we would be breaking down camp and doing all of our stuff in a downpour, sitting under a tarp maybe if we were lucky, but it is dry still. And if somebody could assure me that winter backpacking would always be like this temperature wise, I might do more of it. It's in the 60s, I think. When I mentioned back on the trail yesterday that maybe the 2019 good karma hadn't carried over, I'm starting to think maybe it has. Let's get going on some Dunkin' Donuts coffee on day number 3 in Big South Fork. The doggies are playful, or at least Bailey is. She's going with the collar technique. Bailey, maybe he doesn't want to play. Don't think that's a requirement. It's hot enough. First GoPro Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Big South Fork National River Recreation Area. A very warm and very dry morning, thankfully. Oh, never gets old. And breakfast this morning is, you guessed it, honey bunches of oats with Nito. It worked in 2019. Maybe it's the reason we had all that good weather, so I don't want to take any chances. Wind picking up. Seems to be getting a little darker too. Maybe it won't stay dry for much longer. The weather definitely seems to be changing. We only got about an hour and a half to the Charit Creek Lodge, so we can do that in the rain.
Bailey got bored and she's working on a stick. It's like whittling. Some people like to whittle, Bailey likes to chew.
Well, we are packed up and left no trace in our marginally okay campsite. We're hiking on day number 2 of hiking here. We've got about 3 miles to the Charit Creek Lodge, and it's actually starting to rain right now. It's nothing heavy yet. Don't know when the heavy stuff is coming in. It still seems kind of stable. We're on it for day number 2, about an hour and a half, and we'll be at the lodge. Looks like we're gonna be getting our feet wet. I don't see a dry way to get across this. All right, we looked for an alternate crossing, but there is none, so the feet are getting wet. This looks like this whole area got washed away. Definitely had some flooding here, man. Wow. This is what the trail is like and the views as we head over to Charit Creek Lodge after the creek crossing. This is Station Camp Creek on the left, and I believe this is the Station Camp Creek Trail. This beautiful setting. Temperature is just ideal. It's probably in the low 60s. That little sprinkle of rain has stopped. Storms coming through later. I think we're going to be enjoying them from the porch at the Charit Creek Lodge, which won't be so bad, with maybe a IPA. Kind of boost your spirits after a day like yesterday. But glad we knocked off the miles, so we're a much more pleasant day today. But we run into a lot of this stuff. It's a horse trail. Some of it's a lot worse than this. You got to work your way around it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it real clearly, but right over in there is a building, and I'm guessing that's the horse barn for Charit Creek Lodge. So we're getting close. You can see it a little more clearly. That is definitely the horse barn for Charit Creek Lodge. We are approaching the compound. I can't even begin to tell you how incredibly fortunate I feel we were with the weather. There's a 100% chance of rain starting Friday afternoon, heavy rain, like 1 to 2 inches, and then all day Saturday. Instead, we haven't had really a drop of anything more than just a little bit of a mist on occasion, which wasn't even really bothersome. I'm thinking the good weather karma from 2019 continues, and this may be the most incredible good fortunes we've had yet. All right. Almost there. That, whoa, is the Charit Creek Lodge, and right down there is my spot on the porch. We made it. Charit Creek Lodge.
Yeah, we're definitely backpack, so we made a lot more miles than we thought we'd make yesterday.
I see beer and wine still on the menu. Yeah. Sitting here kind of doing our mini pack explosion while we wait for our room. The wind is definitely picking up. We were just listening to trees falling. I've heard about a couple of trees falling. We're warm and dry and covered, and I'm getting ready to go take a shower. And we were just checking on the beer selection, so it's kind of a nice place to tie into any backpacking trip if you're ever in the area. We're just relaxing and kind of enjoying the Charit Creek Lodge right now. A little hard to see, but here's our room. It's kind of a nice room. It's on the end, so it's got a couple windows. Makes it a little brighter in here than the last one we had. But well, Carl, we sat in these exact chairs last May and we talked about the pizza for about 4 hours straight. We're making them right here in this very spot. It's pepperoni pizza with a little mozzarella and provolone, and this is Parmesan Reggiano. Put a little of that on top. The trick of doing this is not burning the bottom. Somehow getting the all the stuff melted on top without burning the bottom of it. show you my technique. This is garlic extra virgin olive oil. We're not cutting any corners here. We're gonna have pizza, we're gonna do it right. Fashioned a little bit of a lid from heavy duty aluminum foil. It's like Jiffy Pop. You gotta move it around constantly like this. That's what it looks like. Doesn't look too bad. Oh, Travis, that's perfect. There we go.
Oh, is this
So
mine?
you can have that one if you
Sure.
want. If you got a figure plate, you got a plate or?
No, fold it.
Oh,
Thank you.
nice. You're welcome. Is it melted enough?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Is it burnt? It's not
Perfect.
burnt. Okay.
Perfect.
Kind of the overhead look at building the pizza. It's a mozzarella provolone mix. Actually held up remarkably well through 2 days on the trail with no refrigeration. Doesn't look too bad, does it? There we go. We'll look at it in a few minutes when it's done. Little crispy on this one. An IPA. Pepperoni pizza. Oh man. That is so good. I think we got a new trail food.
It's amazing what those phones have become. There's some good spots. Valley Sods is a good spot. Cranberry Wilderness is good.
What did I miss?
Huh?
Nothing. Great. Usually one of us over the time.
We actually got cell service up there. Looks like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Great. That's what I'm trying to leave. Awesome.
It's starting to really rain now.
Yeah, he did great.
We won't be doing much with the dough right now.
Everybody.
Oh, come on. There we go. That'll work. Oh, wow.
Tenderloin, we'll start
Oh,
there.
wow.
Booger. I don't think that's booger.
That might be one of mine.
I was gonna say I hadn't heard booger wine like that.
Sweet potatoes.
Is this Brussels sprouts?
Yeah.
Storm and all that, so that, you know, we'll just drive.
Yeah,
We'll just drive.
I've always been 2.5 years ago. I started.
Well, you probably can't see too well, but we're having one last late night Terrapin Session IPA.
I'm doing the milk stout.
Oh, yep.
I
Travis
switched
switched back to the milk stout. He'd had that before with the awesome banana nut bread. Fantastic dinner at the Charit Creek Lodge, once again by Greg. Awesome day, kind of lounging around here on this porch, watching the rain come in. What a great experience at the Charit Creek Lodge. Get here if you can. End of awesome day number 2 of backpacking. I'll see you tomorrow. Guess it's time. It's time, guys. Well, good morning. Welcome to the 3rd day of backpacking, 4th day overall for the trip. And we just got out of bed. I almost missed the triangle ringing calling to breakfast thing because we slept a long time, went to bed at 8:30, got up about 7:45. Let's go get some breakfast and get this last day of backpacking started. Just a short 1 mile up to the car. Man, the temperature dropped about 30 degrees. It's in the, I bet it's in the 40s, low 40s right now. Rain has moved on, so it looks like we'll be dry once again. Let's get day number 3 going. Here's the breakfast scene.
Good morning. Morning. You know, you got a pair of page on the
What's the name of it again? Barclays Mayor.
Breakfast of champions. With a friend. 2 friends.
thank you for a wonderful stay again at Charit Creek Lodge.
Well, we are geared up and ready to go. Getting day number 3 of the backpacking started. Just another fantastic experience at Charit Creek Lodge. Great breakfast, great dinner, great time sitting on the porch watching it rain, having a few IPAs. Man, if you're ever in the area, you ever get the opportunity, definitely come here. Greg will show you a great experience for sure. Just getting the hiking going, day number 3. You got the bridge right out of the bat, and then the hill starts. You don't have to wait long to anticipate it, that's for sure. Heading up the hill. Getting steeper. Kind of a cruel thing to do after that wonderful breakfast with a nice full stomach, but plowing on up the hill. The beauty of it is it's pretty short. Get it over with fairly quickly, but it's a painful way to start your day after the lodge experience.
Oh, Bailey, come on, Bailey. Keep going, come on, buddy. Keep going, come on, keep going. You can help, Bailey. Yes! Success!
That's always a fantastic sight. That sign right there means the hill is done. Almost to the car. Whew. Well, made it back to the car. Always a great sight, even after a short trip. Well, there you have it. The January 2020 Big South Fork National River Recreation Area backpacking trip is in the books. And even though officially it was a winter backpacking trip with temperatures in the mid 60s to low 70s, nighttime temps in the 50s, it felt more like a spring, early summer trip. And the good weather karma we had from 2019 seemed to continue over, even despite we had a 100% chance of rain starting Friday into Saturday. We never had to put the rain gear on. And once again, the Charit Creek Lodge and Greg gave us another magical experience and some great new memories that we can take away from that place. Again, if you're ever in the area, you definitely got to do yourself a favor and go there. Big South Fork, place with great trails, amazing historical places, incredible views, some sketchy high cliffs, and also the incredible, unique, luxurious throwback experience of the Charit Creek Lodge. Maybe also a place where you're going to have some difficulty finding campsites, but for us, it was another great hike.